everyone. Welcome to GT Time. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hi, Kyle.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
In the super seat this week, Matt Blair.
Hi, everybody.
And making this all happen, Ian Hink.
Hi.
We shouldn't do Ian last
Yeah,
because we got such momentum going forward. We're surfing on a huge wave, and then we're hanging 10, and then Ian just kind of crashes us every time.
He prides
Okay.
himself on it.
Talking about
I don't know what that means.
my jolly high
That's not a
brings
jolly
light
high.
into our lives.
Here's what you should do: is hi.
No.
No, that's not me.
WNBC.
Hi. Coming to you live from over here.
Matt Blair, as you are in the super seat this week, we have a question for you.
Okay.
What was your most recent big mistake, and what did you learn from it?
Most recently, I think, since you keep putting me on the spot when I come in here, I think being on this show is probably the most recent one.
Today, this moment right now is your
Yeah,
most recent big mistake,
think
and what
so.
did you learn from it?
Not to do this anymore.
Well, he did actually prep you with that in the
All
rundown,
right, then get out of here.
and it's been the question for many weeks. So
Well, yeah, but it would require me to actually watch the show.
watch the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
realize.
Ouch.
Well,
lot
being
of
on the
kisses in there,
inside.
Kyle.
I mean, do you guys sit and watch the show after you?
No, I don't.
I listen to
Never
it.
seen an
It's like
episode
a
of GT
quality
Time.
control thing. I like to listen to how we sound and everything. Is this your first time in the new studio doing a GT?
No,
Time?
no,
Okay.
no, no. Second time.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh gosh, this just changes the game. It's a whole different show.
It is. It feels different. It doesn't actually at all.
It sounds different.
It sounds
Does it?
different.
Now it feels
at
very
least.
different. Having the headphones on is very different. Everything's very focused.
I was
I
never
think-
able to do this before, and this is just the greatest privilege in the world is to be able to talk at this level.
See, I think we did this last time. I think you guys are losing track of time.
I'm definitely losing track of
It's
time.
like there's those weird cathedrals that have like the weird acoustics, and you can like stand on one side and like talk right in the wall, and like you can hear somebody on the other side.
Oh yeah,
Those are the best.
Those are my favorite types of cathedrals.
great cathedrals. Let's go into corrections. Our corrections this week. There we go. Begin corrections music, please. Interesting one. We were trying to think of another game that had free DLC that came after launch. 007 Legends was that game.
That was exactly the one I had in mind. I just couldn't remember which one it was.
There was a Skyfall expansion when that came out. Apparently dreadful. Apparently just awful too. Based off like comments I read on the internet. But yeah. That they did do that at least. Purchases. Oh yeah, I goofed big time on last week's GameStop story. So you can't walk into a store and buy a GameStop at those two cities they're selling them at. What you can do is you can buy
Can't
them
buy
online.
a what at GameStop?
Whoa, Blood, you just got real close on that mic. You can't buy
Instant correction.
Sorry, retro games. You know, we talked about how you could buy NES games and Super Nintendo games last week. They won't sell them there at the store. You have to buy them online or in the web in-store system, which is where you're like, you go up and they're like, hey, let me just buy this for you online for you right in front of here on my computer on our web in-store system.
So instead of having it delivered to my place of business or my home, I gotta go somewhere and get it.
You have the convenience of having it delivered to GameStop first. And
That's
then-
not convenient,
It's
especially
not.
if it's probably more expensive. Not a sell, guys.
That's the Home Depot and/or Walmart like solution for not having things in stock. You have it shipped to the store for free,
Yeah.
or you could have it shipped to your house for $50.
That is
what a
how
bargain!
I missed the key aspect of that story. Absolutely. Yeah, that's on me. Oh my gosh. So last week I called Honey Lemon of Big Hero 6 a white girl with blonde hair.
Which is the biggest insult ever.
That's the biggest insult. She's not a white girl. She is Hispanic. As confirmed in an interview with her voice actor.
Does she still have blonde hair?
She still has blonde hair, that's true, but you know, anyone can have blonde hair. What is her name? Genesis Rodriguez. She says that the reason she says Hito the way she is because she's saying it in a Spanish accent, not because she's trying to say it the Japanese way. So big apologies there to any Honey Lemon fans out there in the audience. Okay, so
You want there to be tension. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
tension there.
No, I want people to be like, Honey Lemon is a funny name. I don't know. Y'all just stare at me and just accept these corrections like factually. You know, this is meant to be a jovial part of the show. It's nobody's getting punished. It's okay.
That's what we're waiting
Sorry.
for.
We're
Waiting
trying
for
to
somebody
punish
get
you
punished.
by not joining in on this and letting you suffer.
We did have a lot of suffering though about Legos. The word Legos. Everyone in Europe thinks that word is absurd. They're like, you wouldn't say sheeps, would you? Here's the thing, everyone's acting like the word logos doesn't exist. So they're acting like, oh, you could never pluralize Lego like Legos. Like, what about logos? It's that easy, just add an S at the end. But here's the thing, we got one comment I love big time. Unfortunately, I don't have the person's name because our dumb site effed it up. It's just like, it's from Facebook. So it's just like FCBQ and then a bunch of dumb numbers. But here's our comments. Lego is a Danish company. In Denmark, it has always been Lego Klodser, which means bricks. And we always mention the brick part when we are talking about Lego things. So if you made a Death Star using Lego bricks, your mom would say, pick up your Lego bricks! In Danish, it sounds natural, but perhaps it doesn't translate it well to English. But I don't think Lego, the company, cares what we call them, as long as we are talking about them with face.
It's like Santa Claus. We all have our different Santa Clauses around the world.
Yeah,
That's somewhat true.
especially in Denmark.
Also, considering the way the comments kind of broke down, it did, like, somebody pretty much summed it up. It does feel like a regional thing. So it's
Yeah.
like whether you spell color with a U or not.
Yeah, but I was so happy to have someone from Denmark just be like, here, I'm from here. This is how it goes.
Well, even in the United States, I don't know where the comments came from or whatever, but Lego bricks, like the pluralization is saved for the second word.
Yeah.
So if you're shortening that, you still have to pluralize.
Oh,
so
no,
Legos or
don't-
Lego bricks.
Don't. Here's the thing. You can't have a bag of Lego. That does not exist.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Legos is correct here.
No, that's not even
See,
correct
he's missed
here.
the whole.
Well, I'm
string
gonna
of these.
throw something. I'm gonna throw something out entirely. So, just to get more corrections next week and to continue the song as long as
Don't- oh,
possible.
please.
If you have a bag that is a Lego playset, that is a playset produced by a company called Lego, and that has characters in it, are those called bricks? So if I have like a big box, if I put all of my Lego toys into one big thing, it was like, oh, I'm gonna go play. It's like, you have to call it Lego bricks. It's like, well, they're not all bricks.
There's
some that are
there's some
vehicles. There's some
minifigs
that
in
are
there.
like items that characters have. There's
Yeah.
some that are like human body parts. Are
Those
they all
little
called
flowers.
bricks?
Those little flowers are bricks
Is
as
a
well.
hand a brick?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't like this.
Saying.
End corrections music.
I'm so confused.
What are you confused about?
Oh, no, it's
I
done.
would,
It's
I would
done.
call
Okay,
that
yeah.
It's done.
Legos. I'd say I got a box full of Legos, and that's all.
If we spend more time
correction
on
music,
that,
too.
we're
They're
just-
all Legos.
I feel
They're
like we all
not- oh
agreed
my
there but
gosh.
didn't realize it.
Well, no. I guess what we learned is Lego.
Colloquialisms.
The company doesn't care. Like, as long as we're talking about
Yeah.
them, let's just all
Until we
do
get an
it.
official announcement, we
Yeah.
don't know anything.
GT time enough. I'm the president of Lego.
I'll
All
go
right.
with the regional answer.
So let's go with our first news story this week. There's a PC games show at E3. This was just announced this morning. So hard to wrap my mind around it completely. Basically, PC Gamer and AMD teaming up to create a press event during E3 week. Not officially part of E3. They make it very clear in their statement that it's E3 week and not, an E3 event, which is strange.
That's essentially how all the press conferences are.
Like Bethesda and like Square Enix, right? Like
Because they make it very clear. It's like, just because you got an E3 badge doesn't mean you get into the press conference.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So what it's meant to do is, I guess, celebrate PC games the same way that console games are celebrated. However, it's how do you even do this? What is this event going to be?
Well, I mean, you do this with the people that are partnered with AMD to put their logo at the splash screen before the game starts.
What kind of people are those?
Just anyone. Like, I think, Dirt Rally, Codemasters new game, that's got AMD right at the beginning, I'm pretty sure. And the same thing, like NVIDIA always has a little whisper voice kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the same way that a lot of developers develop for consoles, kind of not have an unofficial partnership with either Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, and in order to help develop their game and figure out the system they're working on. That's kind of the same deal with AMD and NVIDIA, like Blood was just saying.
Yeah, but do you think there will be announcements at this press event?
We'll probably see footage of games for the first time.
Like
Yeah.
what?
That's like the gaming, like Dirt, right? We'll probably see. Well, it's
Dirt's out,
Yeah,
man.
I mean, we might see something like Cyberpunk.
Well, it's early
there.
access, but they, early access might have restrictions on,
Cyberpunk would
levels
be
you
a
can
good,
play and-
really big deal.
Cyberpunk would be huge, but no, like I don't think that'll happen at this event.
Yeah, I would say announcements would be highly unlikely. Maybe like one, interesting one, but like certainly demos of new games would seem like the whole reason that they would want to centralize a PC gaming event as far as news was concerned.
I mean, I
you
kind
would
of-
get like everything you're looking at, because that's like the big question. It's like at PS4 events we see like a footage being shown on a screen. It's like, who knows? I see a PS4, but who knows if that's actually plugged into everything. So you have an event like this where they're like, every game that you're looking at is running on this tech, it is available for PC. Is a major reason if you own a PC that you should own games.
That
and what
absolutely
you're
makes it
looking at is
exciting.
the best this game can possibly look.
So I do want to read what has been announced officially. Hosted by Sean Day9 Plot. The PC gaming show at E3 will feature appearances by Dean Hall of DayZ fame, Cliff Blazinski of Boss Key Productions, and developers from studios including Blizzard, Bohemia Interactive, Cloud Imperium Games, Tripwire Interactive, Square Enix, Obsidian, Paradox, Devolver Digital, and the Humble Bundlers, with more to be announced.
So that's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah.
That's a good lineup. I guess. Here's the thing, though. When I was talking to Huber and Ben about it, they're like, dudes, Blizzard's going to be there. I mean, developers from studios, including Blizzard, are going to be there. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean there's going to be a Blizzard announcement.
Well, we were stoked to see them on the Sony stage, and then they ended up talking about Diablo, and it's like, oh, okay. So just because somebody's showing up, you never know.
Right.
Blizzard's
I-
doing
to
all
be
sorts of
fair,
new stuff.
To be fair, that game's doing really well on their platform. So I
Absolutely.
mean, it
Oh,
made
sure.
perfect
Not
sense.
huge.
But that's the thing. Like, I think it's going to be expected games that we know about, but we're going to see them, like the people behind them, depending on, unless you have like huge relationships with Sony and Microsoft that you have to honor. And it's like, oh yeah, I think they're going to do a good job making our game look good. And so let's go to that event. Let's show it off.
Yeah, I think that Overwatch is probably most likely from Blizzard for this event.
Good call. At least some kind of announcement, maybe a small detail or something like that, just to be able to talk about it. I mean, you touched on it earlier, where it's like you might expect like one, maybe two semi-big announcements, because what's the real reason for somebody to put this thing together unless they have something to announce and they want somewhere to do it? They want some kind of stage to be able to do it, right? So you kind of put it together based on those one or two tentpole things that you have, and then you start inviting other people to make it worth doing a full show. So, you're going to have a whole bunch of people coming on stage just kind of talking about what they do, maybe to promote their game a little bit, but not do a whole lot else. But I would kind of expect at least a couple of decent announcements that we knew nothing about.
Yeah, I did forget to mention this. It's going to be on Tuesday night. So, imagine... Wait, June 16th is Tuesday. Is that correct? Yeah. So, imagine, I guess, the power of even a game that was announced for PS4 and Xbox One and just saying, oh, here it is looking better.
Right.
You do have that. You can take the steam out of those announcements pretty easily, couldn't you?
The sky's the limit with the PC thing, because you could have something that costs $5,000 built right there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's running on PC.
Yeah, the bummer is VR can't really play at a con or at a press conference. It's like
That's something to talk about. I mean, Sony's going to have to try soon, right, to show off their
right. It's just how do you show
Morpheus.
that in front of a group of people? Like I don't know.
You know what I would do is I'd pull
Just
in a
one
celebrity.
guy takes it off and he's like, "That was amazing." And everyone's like, "Oh well."
Yeah, that's why I would pick
I'm
a
convinced.
celebrity. You actually need a celebrity to come in and say, "Wow, that was cool." You need Kobe Bryant to try in your VR. To
Why
have
did
an
I
impact.
think of Kobe Bryant? Why did Kobe of all people?
He's got a press conference
immediately
history. He
come to
does.
the
That
forefront?
was
But
one
I
of the
think,
more
yeah,
memorable, terrible.
I think
press
something like
conferences.
Battlefields. I loved when they had the 32 on 32 and the building fell down. Like that was really great. So I think something like that would make more sense, and I think would play a lot better in an event like this. Not like a strictly CG weird game announcement of some sequel to some 90s game that maybe not a lot of people know of. I could see that totally falling flat. But being really honest, getting out there and being like, here's what's cool about this console. It's constantly evolving. Here's where we're at right now. Take a look.
Yeah. And cool on them for having the initiative. As they say in this press release, or I guess announcement, I shouldn't call it a press release, even though it kind of feels that way. There's no marketing team for PC. So they just kind of have to do this on their own and find the budget on their own, and so that's not easy.
I think the big question is, I'm going to throw this out right now as the editor-in-chief of this website.
Yeah.
We're going to be streaming during E3, and Tuesday's going to be a huge day. It's like that's when we know, okay, we actually got to the show floor. We got to play the stuff. We've been talking about it, but we actually got hands-on. I saw weird games at some booth that they didn't even mention in the press conference. So what are they doing talking about that? 5 to 8 on Tuesday is the 3 hours, right after the show floor closes, to talk about everything. Are we going to stop our live stream to look at this and all pay attention to this so we can start talking about it afterwards?
I'll
Are we
sit
just going to
over-
let it happen and then just randomly we'll just check our social feed and oh, hey, look at that. They had a new announcement.
I'll sit over on the couch and watch it, and if anything happens, I'll let you know.
Just we wear the headphones like you're right, Arn. And it's yeah, Matt, just wave like this, like Team America, just
Yeah.
You know, something happens.
And then I'll cry when you guys don't.
Because it could be. You never know. It could be amazing. And this, I mean, I think the bigger issue is like what is happening right now. Like Bethesda's having their own thing. Square Enix is
Yeah.
having their own thing. Now that, you know.
3 new press conferences we didn't have last year. We will have to watch this year. It's pretty crazy.
And no news on what Nintendo's doing.
Yeah, right.
They're just
no
going to
news
do
yet.
Treehouse Live the whole time.
I mean, to be fair, we don't have news about what Xbox or PlayStation is doing either. You know, they haven't announced their things yet. We just kind of assume they'll be there. Matt Blair, you made a very funny face when I said PC doesn't have a marketing team. What are you inferring here?
I think that you're playing into their hands perfectly because
Right.
AMD, PC gamers, marketing teams are putting this on, acting like they're representing the entire industry of PC gaming. They're not, but they want you to feel that way. Like,
You're right. I did buy into that.
there
You're
is
right.
going to be stuff left out of this that is probably worthy of being announced that might just happen in a trailer or somebody's live stream. Like, you know, one Twitch stream is going to talk about a handful of games that you're
It's
not
like
gonna see
Keeley with
here.
the Game Awards. You know, he definitely wants that to feel like you have all sorts of different gaming awards.
Right.
And he's like, this is it. This is the main one. This is the Oscars. This you can have your Golden Globes. You can have your AFI stuff. Like, but this is the Academy Awards. Of
And
video
you
games.
expect that to give equal attention to everything. But, you know, obviously the bigger budget stuff is going to always kind of shine.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to see here. Like, I think this is stuff aimed at either bigger budget or partnerships formed with the people that are putting on the show. Like, you're not going to see Microsoft games at a Sony press conference, right? Similarly, you're not going to see games that don't have a foot in with these two companies.
So are you saying that Blizzard isn't just showing up, but they might be helping out fund it? Are you kind of implying
I
that?
don't even think that. I think they were just invited and they thought, okay, cool, yeah, this is a good way to kind of show our PC gamers that we still love you, even
Sure.
though the last thing we did was put Diablo on consoles.
That's not the last thing they did.
Well,
Here's-
start
we got
the
Heroes of the
PS4
Storm.
heroes, yeah.
Yeah,
The
Heroes of
PS4.
Storm. Yeah. I think it's a good
BlackRock.
point. Yeah, I think it is a good idea to show up during E3 week. I think that is a good idea to try to make
Definitely.
a presence there. I think that's cool.
And, you know, don't get me wrong, I don't think that this show's not going to be worth anything. I think it's going to be great. I think it's a great step forward because so many people complain about the lack of attention specifically to PC as a platform.
Yeah.
I like that, and I like that these guys are making this move. Just don't think like they're speaking on behalf of everything.
Sure.
That's kind of a mistake.
And considering the job we have to do, having more gameplay of the games they're talking about at E3, I'm stoked. Like, great, yeah, show us more. Do demos. Demos of everything. Every time someone walks out on that stage, they should show the demo of something.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Even if it's something like Hearthstone or StarCraft, to just bring out like the best players in the world and have them do a match or something. Like
Of
even
Hearthstone?
just that. Oh, don't start.
Okay, we shouldn't start that. We should not get into that. What are you going to see in a press conference of Hearthstone players? Just
I don't
like,
know.
Oh, that was a good move. Nice. So let's not. We shouldn't go into me being condescending about Hearthstone. We should talk about how Steam had an interesting week last week and is no longer selling. We didn't even get to talk about how they are going to sell mods, and they're already no longer doing it. Here's what happened. On Thursday of last week,
Yeah, right after we did the show.
yeah, Steam announced, hey, you can sell your Skyrim mods. You can make these and sell them. You can make money off selling mods. You're welcome. Here's how the deal worked. The Valve cut would be 25%. The Bethesda cut would be 50%. So you, as the creator, make 25% of the money that is being sold. And obviously, there were a lot of problems with that. Things that were like, there's a lot of like weird gray area things of like, hey, you can't sell that because you used my thing that I gave away for free. Things like that. Things like just straight up stolen things were being sold that didn't even belong to that person. Everyone is mad. Everyone's very mad about what this did to the community. And so on Monday, they just said, okay, it's done. It's gone. Don't worry about it. We had some plans. We see that we misread the community. Sorry about that. And it's gone. Don't worry about it. And that's what happened. Daniel Bloodworth, was that a good thing?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I can see what they're trying to go for, but it's just a weird place to be in because, as you said, like so many mods, they get away with being free because, they are sort of, pulling in other properties and things like that. And it's just a weird thing to think of, somebody doing an improvement and then like, yeah, it's already, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because like in one way, like you want people that like actually do like huge amounts of work to make that game look amazing, to get some kind of benefit from it. But at the same time, it's just all like kind of weird. It's like, it's kind of encroaches on the people that, maybe, want to play around with that stuff and don't have the money for it.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So you're like, I want Skyrim to look as good as possible, but I don't want to spend another $3.50 or whatever to like get that texture pack or something like that. You mean like just like the cost of it could be ridiculous at some
Right.
point.
And then like I don't know how it would have worked for people that already had downloaded those things.
They were fine. Yeah, they got to
Yeah.
keep them.
So I don't know. It's a weird thing. I actually didn't pay that much attention to it just because, as you said, by the time I got back into work on Monday, I was like, oh, this is over now. Okay, nobody really needs to care. But it was a huge outcry, and I think part of the statement was like, what it was like, oh, it's clear we had no idea what we were doing.
Yeah,
That is the problem.
Yeah, I think they made their good intentions clear, which was cool. But yeah, I mean, is that part of the problem, Matt? Did they have no idea? Was there no way this could have worked?
Look, I don't know what happened behind closed doors and between the people who agreed to actually make this happen in the first place, but it's on them because some of the outcry was with stuff that, people stealing work and copywritten material, perhaps, all of these different reasons why it was immediately a huge deal. That's the kind of stuff you have to think about before you launch something in order to make money, because they were making money off of this too, right? It wasn't just about the people making the mods and doing the work making the money. Both sides of Bethesda and Steam, Valve, were making money off of this deal. So the fact that they didn't vet it enough to realize that it would be a problem immediately.
Yeah.
They let everybody else down. I understand they had good intentions, but business-wise and legally, you have to do that work before you say, all right, everybody, let's make some money off of this. And I don't think that that's the attitude that they went in on it with. I'm sure that they had, they perfectly justified Bethesda making 50% because it's on their game and they did the work first. But at the end of the day, it's not everybody else's fault, because if I'm making a mod and I use copywritten material or whatever, whether or not it's in that user agreement that nobody reads when you actually do something,
Yeah.
if the capability is there for me to publish something and start making money off of it without it getting vetted or whatever the case may be, that's kind of on the people that made it possible to do. Like, I'm kind of a crook, but if I'm going to be able to make money that way, then I'm going to do it because I'm Joe Schmo and I just want to make money doing what I'm already doing for free.
Wait, Matt Blair's kind of a crook?
Every person can be, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I realize, oh, well, I can make a couple of bucks, nobody will notice if I put Mario in that game. Yeah, they will. But the thing is like, if that actually got through and I'm making money off of it, that's a huge problem. The burden's on the people who made that possible just as much as it is the people that made it.
We only had a week. They had no chance to see like how we were going to balance this whole system. It's like, well, now it's gone. So like, yeah, everybody that complained and everybody that got that shut down are people that had an issue with it, but people that didn't have an issue with it and were now like, oh, this is cool. And like, I don't know what the percentage of those people is, but there definitely were those people that were like, this is great. I'm totally on board for this. I can actually make a living doing this. This will actually get me closer to now we'll, obviously like mods were ranked before you could see how much, stuff was downloaded, but like this will, help me possibly get my foot in the door of like actually communicating with this company, maybe getting an internship, maybe working there. Now it's gone. So like there's no balancing now, it's finished. So like that kind of frustrates me that there wasn't something where they were like, oh, okay, now let's adjust this now that we put it out there. Because yeah, you can think about it beforehand, but you're still not really going to know. It's like when a game launches and you're buying servers trying to figure out like what the big online reach is going to happen, and then you launch Grand Theft Auto Online, everything breaks, and you're like, okay, sorry, we just weren't but now we're going to change it. We're not just like, all right, GTA Online's gone. So that was a bummer for me that it just like totally went away.
The workshop is still there, right?
Right.
You can still do the mods. I mean, we've heard stories of people being hired from being a modder all the time, and that was before people were getting paid for them or trying to sell them or make money off of them.
Yeah, a lot of people at Valve just like worked in mods before.
Right,
which is great.
Right, but the point is that there's no setup. Like Steam is great because it's bringing all of PC gaming together. We just talked about like there's no one's representing PCs, and it's like here's AMD is the one that's coming out, being like we have a conference. It's like Steam should not necessarily be doing that, but Steam's in a good position to do something like that
That's
and
very
to
true.
unify all this stuff. And so I just think it's one of those things that we're like enjoying now because it's a Wild West and it feels really fun. It's kind of like music. It's like Napster. It's just like it's just kind of this fun era where like nobody really knows how this is benefiting people, and it might not be as balanced as we want it to be. And I just think naturally we're going to get to that point where like it is an industry. It's there. It's totally viable. It helps everybody if it's done the right way. And we're going to have to make really difficult decisions moving forward. And it's a bummer that we're not in a position to do that because they just canned the whole thing.
Sort of to play devil's advocate, because I basically agree with you, but there is something that I like about the fact that Steam or Valve just basically just said, all right, we screwed up, screw it. Like, there's something I really like about that, like that a business has the balls to just be like, nah, screw it. We thought we'd try it. But, like, you never see companies doing that. You never see companies just be like, nah, we made a mistake. The last one I can think of is Netflix when they were going to do that stupid Quickster thing. And then everyone was like, no, this is the worst idea you've ever had. And then they're like, all right, you're right. We just won't do it. Like, I love that.
Me
I don't
too.
know.
Yeah, that's good. That's a
Very good point.
I think it was a swift reaction. Honestly, I think the biggest problem here was that there's already been years and years of Skyrim mods that were free. I think if they do it, Skyrim 6, and they announce it ahead of time, we're selling mods for this game, okay?
Skyrim 6.
Sorry, Elder Scrolls 6, thank you. We're selling mods for this. Fallout 4. We're going to do sellable mods. I think there will be much less uproar. And I think, honestly, 25% is not that bad compared to nothing. I think, honestly, it is super hard to regulate. I don't even know how to regulate it. I don't know how they do it for Team Fortress. I don't know how they do it for Dota 2. How do you even regulate this?
It would have to be something like Little Big Planet or something where, like, the system is built in somehow. Like, the workshop to make these things is built into the game.
Yeah, you're not writing
in
code
more
at
of a
that
way.
point.
Yeah, so you're not
you need someone like Rockstar or something to be completely on board.
Yeah,
And they're just like,
they'd
"We're
have to
gonna
police
try
it way
this."
more, and I think that the community might suffer from that too.
Yeah.
It
You're
wouldn't
right.
be the same. I mean, yeah, definitely.
You're right, because there will be new rules and things about making your mods, and that actually might make the community and the mods themselves suffer. I see that. Maybe you
But
should.
again, it's the same thing with music. It's like you gotta have rules. You have to have some rules at some point. It's like we can't just again, it can't be the Wild West forever. We have to figure out.
And I mean,
Yeah.
like,
How many people are out there doing this? Is this something you actually want to do with your career and you want to develop? And so it's not just going to be some like, oh, I'll cross my fingers, hope they hire me someday, and then that's the
Yeah.
only day I'll never make money off of this.
well, and it does work in other media, like in film and music and all these things. You can use other people's stuff. You just have to attribute them, and like there are rules about that. I mean, if they just had really strict rules, it could work.
No way. There's Chappie isn't saying, all right, everybody, go remix Chappie and sell that movie and just give us 75% of the money
Obviously,
you make from
obviously,
remixing
but
Chappie.
like when people put out lines of code or like sound effects on like freesound.org or music on Pond 5, there's a license that says you can use this if you attribute to me, so like there could be things
that.
in mod community where it's like, and there are these things in the mods community where it's like you can use this for free as long as you mention that this part of it is my code, things like that. But yeah, I mean, straight up, you can't just take a mod and be like, I made everything purple. This is mine now.
Yeah. And at that point, you'd have to have a team of with oversight on all of that, right? That at that point, you're going over lines of code to make sure that you didn't steal it from somebody else, or if somebody makes that claim, then you have to have those people willing to do and ready to do that work.
And they could pay them using the money that they make selling the mods. So it's a zero-sum game.
Maybe ish. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the kind of work that you have to do before you release something like this, right? And maybe they did, and maybe they didn't do quite a good job, or maybe this was something that they just couldn't anticipate. I don't really believe that. I think that maybe this was just a move made a little bit too prematurely.
Yeah. Well, I think actually, I think the talks about stealing and that sort of thing, I think that's maybe where this kind of gets thrown off a little bit, because I think, again, we're talking about the modding community, and I think the community aspect of that is sort of what is getting messed with here.
Yes.
Because
100%
it's
that.
not that like, oh, I stole this thing and I made my thing out of it.
Right,
It's
we're
like
just
everybody
building on
is
top of each
building
other.
on top of each other. They're improving the game. You came up with this cool thing. It's like, oh, but I got an idea that will make that better. And rather than starting from scratch, they just build on top of that thing. And so I think that's really where the issue comes in. Is like, okay, like at what point who's does like you have a pyramid scheme where like everyone gets a cut? It gets really weird.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I guess we won't know till future dates. What's up, Brandon?
I was just saying, not that much to talk about actually if they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, well, I think they will. I don't.
kind of a moot
I don't think
point.
that's the end of it. I don't believe that's the end of it. I think Valve will certainly for their games do more payable mods, but we'll see if Bethesda's back on board after that whole backlash. But I do want to move into more backlash. Silent Hills was sorry, no, I guess not. We're moving on to Halo Master Chief Tournament has been canceled. This was an online tournament.
The Silent Hills screen was canceled.
Yeah.
Do you need me to go and move it back?
Transition. Why did I go forward twice?
I don't know. Did you?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll just
We'll see what happens.
We'll play it by ear,
Fast
baby.
and loose.
Fast and loose. So
Get off my show.
Ah.
This ain't fast and loose.
last weekend, the Halo Championship
Quick and not
Series, which is the official Halo Esports League, canceled the first online cup of the regular season because of connection issues. They just couldn't.
Canceled it while they were doing it. Like planned it, started.
Yes.
They were in the lobby, doing the first thing, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah,
Wow.
that is pretty crazy,
That
right?
is extremely crazy.
Brandon, my
extremely
question is,
bad.
how mad should we be? Should we be mad about this as like people who are on a podcast? You know what I mean?
I should be mad. I mean, like, there's about maybe 50 people that should be mad. It's like all the people that worked really hard to put that tournament together, all the players,
Sure.
and their loved ones. You know, like 5,200.
Well, and everyone
people.
that would want to watch it.
I mean, if you want to watch something and it doesn't, boohoo. You know, it's like, come on. You know, like,
Is it mad
I've
or
had shows that were canceled or sporting
want my
events that
money
were
back.
canceled. I mean, that's life. Like, if you're gonna watch something live, there's no guarantee. That's why it's exciting because it's live. That is extremely disappointing. Like, that puts a huge frown on my face. And that just like that. A company that's known not for doing a whole lot of things, but one thing. that's their thing. These people loved this game franchise so much they went off and created a whole other company just to do this. And then they have a tournament and the game doesn't work.
Well, I don't
the
think
game
it's-
doesn't work playing older games. It's a whole
Yeah,
a whole sandwich of just frowns.
I think
Like,
that's what I mean. Should we be mad about? Should we be mad about Halo Master Chief Collection still not working as it should?
because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's,
Right.
it's a refrigerator that broke, and the repairman comes by and he has no idea how to fix it. It's that simple. You
That's
know?
a
It's
good
like,
analogy,
There's not
sure.
like whole tiers of conspiracies on top of business deals on top of whatever. Like if anybody at 343 or Microsoft could make this work, they would do it. They would spend as much money as they possibly could to make it happen. They just don't know because you're like, oh well, but there was that time that Valve did that thing where it was like every Half-Life and Team Fortress map all combined together in one playlist. Like it's a weird multiplayer game. It's a weird look back at a shooter franchise. No one's ever made a game like it before, and it doesn't work. So they haven't figured it out because no one's figured it out yet how to make all of that material jive together. It's so sad. Wow.
Wait, so you're sad about this?
Yeah, I'm sad more than angry.
moved you- it's
because I don't know where to
moved you
direct.
sad.
I don't know where to direct my anger because I direct my anger at someone who's doing something intentionally to be,
Matt
cruel.
Blair looks ready to direct some anger.
No, I'm just picturing Brandon opening a broken refrigerator and finding a sandwich of frowns. That was some really, really good creative.
Yeah.
And now,
Beautiful imagery.
Yeah,
So that's
yes.
his talent. But Matt Blair, I mean, looking at how Master Chief Collection, I mean, they have to do more tournaments. This is a league. It's
Yeah.
coming. There's going to be more. Do you think they'll see similar issues, or do you think they will? I mean, Brandon says they're putting every resource into this as possible. I honestly don't believe that. I believe this refrigerator could be fixed. Sometimes it gets fixed, and then they patch it again, and it gets worse. The repairman comes in and says, that'll do it. And then it's like, no, hey, this smells bad. Do you, Matt Blair, think that this could be fixed and needs to be fixed before their next leg of the online tournament?
every once in a while, when we're going to do a live stream,
Yeah.
we hook it up just before because we've been working all day, whatever. We're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
we got to put on a live stream. And then that game doesn't work.
Yes.
Something's broken. We have to change the game. Maybe
I'd say
we
that happens
canceled the live
frequently.
stream. It does
Yeah.
happen once in a while.
Yeah.
Because, there's not a whole lot of stake there, right? Like we're doing a live stream because A, we want to, and B, we like connecting with the fans and all of that stuff. But if we don't do it, it sucks. But we're not losing tons of money and blah, 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 and tons of people aren't being disappointed. We're not building a great amount of expectation there. They've put together an event that demands a huge amount of expectation from every angle, from the fans watching it, from the people competing in it, to the people putting it on. This is kind of a common theme with me, but I keep asking, like, how do you not prepare for something like this, or did they?
Matt, I think it's just the game. I don't think it's the event at all. I think
That's
that
my
game is
point.
broken.
If it's just the game, then how did you not figure this out before you went to
Oh,
the event?
sure,
How do you
yeah.
not have practice matches and lead-ins and things like this? How do you not rehearse something? You're just going to show up and expect everything to work with a game that's notably broken? That's crazy to me. Like, are you just going to show up and put on that event and be like, oh crap, it doesn't work? Well, cancel it.
Oh, that is what
they
they did.
had to have done something to prepare for that, right? So like maybe it worked while they were preparing, and this was an unexpected consequence of showing up on the day.
Yeah.
We don't really know that. Maybe, I mean, it's easy to point at Master Chief Collection and say, well, it's always been broken. What did you expect? And just kind of laugh it off or whatever. But I have to imagine that if these guys knew what they were doing, that they would have tested it.
I do believe they tested it.
So I have to believe. I have to be optimistic here. If they tested it and it worked, that it can work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
There is
really embarrassing.
There was a solution to whatever issue that they were having. It's just no one knew.
They just
And
it sucks.
I don't know
because-
what kind of representative you would have, like either from 343 or Microsoft, that would be there in case things go wrong.
Well, I mean, it was an online tournament, so I think that there was not like have this person be there in person and just like controlling the wires and everything. You know what I mean? It's some person like looking at the network and going, oh no, oh god, oh pull the plug, cancel the tournament. You know, I think that's what's happening, which is crazy.
But do they have other Halo games online tournaments there?
They will. Yeah, the entire league is not online tournaments. They will have like event tournaments. But not everybody can make it to those, and not everybody can afford to travel like that. So online tournaments are cool. Daniel Bloodworth, how do we, like, let's say we're on the Halo 5 marketing team. How do we erase this? How do we erase this feeling of Master Chief Collection did not work? How do we prove to everybody that Halo 5 will work?
Oh, well, they'll probably do more betas for sure. I mean, I think that already sort of worked in a way because people played the beta in December and, they didn't seem to have that same amount of backlash for Halo 5. So I think if they consistently, give people opportunities to do that, to kind of prove in a way in a real world environment that the thing is working, then they will kind of prove themselves to a large portion of the player base. But I'm guessing there'll still be some that they won't convince because, let's face it, before the game went live, Master Chief Collection worked. It was only when it went out to the public that it stopped working.
Yeah.
And that's why we kind of have, like our high score that's like, oh, we're not really sure about that score anymore. It's because it worked when we played it.
Right. I mean,
We scored the concept
Yeah.
of this game. But nobody knew what the game was. We're still learning stuff about the game.
We're still learning.
That's a major. This is a record-breaking franchise. Has this ever happened? I mean, I'm sure it probably happened in like Poughkeepsie somewhere, where like somebody had like a Street Fighter tournament or something, and somebody's SNES broke. But has this ever happened in a major event? Like at Evo, is it ever the game just like not a hardware issue, not a controller issue? The game itself, the network, just gone.
I'm sure it's happened, but you're right. This is a huge scale. Where like this is the official Halo
And
esports
it was kicking
league.
it off too, right?
Yeah,
It was the first match of the
right.
the
So
series.
I see that. Yeah, this is probably on a bigger scale than we've seen before. Oh man.
And that makes it all the more unfortunate because you have all of these organizations doing weekly, like I think it's Wednesday night fights. I think there was also a Friday night fights at some point. Like there are entities out there doing this on a daily/weekly basis, and those games are working. This is the one time that they prepared for this one event, and that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, based off comments I see though, like regular people are still having connection issues, like making games function. If you want big groups, it sounds like if you just want to play by yourself online on Master Chief Collection, it's gonna be fine. But like, I think it's like the group assembly that's like making things weird.
I think Bloodworth was right on the money. You get the game in people's hands as early as possible.
Get some betas going.
Get some betas going.
Yeah.
Get that free beta key with the pre-order thing going, which is inevitably coming for Halo 5.
Sure.
And you get people. That's what they did for Destiny. Get it in people's hands for free, and then let them tell everyone else to buy your game.
Yeah.
And Destiny's still going strong. There's a whole
Yeah.
lot of people that started playing it together when it was free, kept playing it together when it was released. I think that's what they have to do.
And all Halo 5. Don't talk about Halo 1 through 4 at all. When
Yeah.
you're talking about Halo 5.
That's a good
Like,
idea, too,
just
honestly,
completely,
yeah.
just like, look
Let
at
it
all the
go.
new maps. Look at all the new levels. Look, new abilities and weapons.
Yeah. You don't have to
Play
necessarily
that other
say,
weird
like-
game if you want to play the old
No,
Halo
don't even
stuff.
mention it. I think the idea is don't even mention it. Don't even
Right.
talk about Master Chief Collection. Because I think, Brandon, the first thing you talked about is just how it's this collection of old games all put together. Like, it's running 4 different games at once. I think that is honestly the reason why it's being so bunk. I'm not positive.
And this is like an extremely unpopular opinion, but like there's a part of me that kind of gets a kick out of it, out of seeing like a company as big as Microsoft being like, like this didn't work. You know, a company as huge and proven like Rockstar launching GTA Online, like, doesn't work. You know, and like
You get a kick out of that?
because it
Some
shows
men just
because
want to watch the world burn.
I get a kick out of it the same way when I was playing like 64 Super Nintendo and I get like extreme slowdown. Like Bloodborne, I walk into a gate sometimes and like, you know, like it's great because it means that PS4 is having a heart attack.
Feature.
And anything
It's a
that'll give a
feature.
PS4 a heart attack to me, I get a kick out of. You know, like I like it when our technology proves like I'm not ready. We're not ready. Like the whatever internet infrastructure that varies depending on what region you're in based on how we set the system. Nope, not there yet.
It's humanizing to a certain extent.
We still have a ways to go.
Yeah.
Again, it's popular opinion, unpopular opinion, but
It
No,
was
but it
just-
makes
I
sense.
like slowdown to Super Nintendo games if it's
It
official.
was too much of a good thing. And now we can talk about, too much of a good thing. Silent Hills has been canceled officially this week. Konami just come out and said, okay, yeah, Silent Hills is not happening.
Yeah. Now we can officially say that PT was not a demo.
Now we can officially say that PT,
Yeah, PT
is not a demo.
Is one of the best free games ever created.
You know, part of this story actually, PT's off the PlayStation Network store right now. You cannot buy it anymore. You cannot. Well, it was free the whole
You can
time.
buy it on eBay for like $1,000. I heard.
Yeah.
Well,
if you-
last I checked on that, it has been about a day, but the people were listing their PS4s with it loaded on there, but
Yeah.
none of them had actually been bid on, meaning like they had to clear some kind of weird agreement before you could actually try to buy them.
Yeah, that's boy do I like when like Polygon picks up a story like that, just like oh they're selling these for. Polygon probably didn't even. I'm sorry, Polygon. When a blog-esque video games website picks up a story like that and just says they're selling for thousands of dollars, I'm like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Be cool about
actually, I forget what it was, but Chris Kohler was complaining about that. It's like nobody write about it. There's like something that was like somebody put like some huge bid on eBay on some retro thing that was like way overvalued.
Oh yeah, they're troll bids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like turns out nope, that wasn't what actually ended up going through. So
Yeah, Chris Kohler's been through it. He's seen it enough times. I wish everyone did not report on when big games sell like that. Anyway, I do want to talk about Silent Hills. Specifically, I want to ask a hard question to this panel. Would Silent Hills have been profitable? Would this game have been a success?
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The buzz that PT gave that game, oh my gosh. It was on another level. It was like Silent Hill was reborn. You know, like people were very mediocre on the past few games for a long time, you know, and basically ever since, the original team had been moved off of it and they had been outsourcing it to here and there, people have just not been excited about the franchise. And like now, people were very, very excited.
That's a good point. And I mean, it's impossible to measure, but I would say this game had more buzz than any Silent Hill game.
This game had
You
more
know?
buzz than almost any game, and it had the potential for more. If I may, I mean,
Please.
Norman Reedus,
Yep.
Walking Dead fans, easy. Hideo Kojima, Metal Gear fans, and anyone else who even might look at the game twice. You say, "Oh, this is the guy who makes Metal Gear." I've never played Metal Gear before, but I noticed it. I know that. Done. Crap, Heber's gonna kill me. I forgot.
Guillermo
the guy's
del Toro?
name. Yes,
Guillermo del
Guillermo.
His favorite guy.
Any
He's,
fans that don't even play games
Working
are
on a
gonna look
couple
at that.
movies right now.
I know, I'm bad with names, but anybody who doesn't even play games that know his movies are going to look at it.
Yeah.
They're going to think about it. They might buy a system just to play his game, right? And then put on top of that, you're rebooting a legendary franchise that almost everybody's heard of in the past at some point. Like those things alone. We saw that teaser trailer, and then we had PT, which was likely not going to be anything like the game we played, except for maybe the environment and the tone. Mm-hmm. Like it had so much going for it. It was just a no-brainer. You let this game happen, you throw as much money at it as you want because you're going to make it all back and then some. There's just too many factors working for it, and it's amazing that it died.
They gave us the cruelest gift of all, hope. Because like I'm a huge Silent Hill fan.
Yeah.
And the last couple were just doggerel, so I was like really ready to believe. I was
Yeah.
ready to believe that it was back, that it could happen again, that intelligent, thoughtful, atmospheric horror could happen in a game again. But no.
And it's true because they did give you so much more that they did more than a trailer. They let you play this game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be in that environment and feel what they were going for, and that was the craziest part of it.
In the most perfect, like, get it right now, drop like of all time.
Yeah, announce release in the same minute, right?
Yeah.
And that's gone. Brandon, you think Konami? What's going on with Konami?
Oh, I don't know. Who
What's
knows?
going on,
What
man?
happened? What? Who slept with whose wife? Something happened, man. There was just something, and somebody was across the table from Kojima and just stood up, threw the napkin down on the table, and was like,
There
"Fire,
are
get out of here!" Like,
So there's a lot of unconfirmed rumors, actually, Brandon, that the CEO of Konami like hates Kojima, hates the video game aspect of the company, and wants to only focus on casino games and mobile games. But I don't want to get into those too much. But I'm saying what you're projecting right there, it could actually just be the reality. That is just something very petty. It could be that. But like, Konami still sells games, still make money off games. Do you believe that we'll still see Konami releasing console games in 2 years?
I don't know. I don't know enough about Konami to really comment on that. I really haven't followed Konami that much.
Who could? What is there to cover? Like, what is there to follow? You
Yeah, I
know?
guess.
Exactly.
To,
I mean,
to really
they
know their
publish-
staple, to really look
Yeah.
back and
They publish quite a bit. I mean, they're not responsible for. I mean, they've let a lot of franchises die. I guess not that it's necessarily their fault directly, but they have influence enough to make sure that they didn't. And you know, they say that they're going to keep making Silent Hills. They say that they're going to keep making Metal Gears. But when they're solely responsible for that, it never turns out well. It hasn't turned out well in a long time, has it?
Right.
Not really. They've let them die in the worst possible way too. They've just let them kind of like slowly peter off and like just disappear over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine having the biggest game announcement at Gamescom, which they had last year. They had it. I really think they
and that's
had
the
it.
thing. Like, I know it's huge to lose Kojima and it's huge to lose Del Toro, and that was probably like the. I mean, they knew they lost Kojima, so it was probably just waiting on Del Toro to be like, huh, "What? Oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that without Kojima." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, it's official," and they made the announcement. Like, I would still do it. Like, I would trust you learning, like Unity in like a weekend, and then they're just taking where they left off at the end of PT, and like I would still play the shit out of that game.
Yeah, I hear you.
It was
Actually,
it
Oh,
was.
more
That's the
PT?
thing. Like, it seems to me at this stage that Konami's not only lost Kojima and Del Toro, they've lost their minds. Like, they're behaving, and it's so petty, it's ridiculous. Like, taking his name off stuff, taking PT. I mean, maybe it's like a rights thing, like you were saying before, but like, it's just so weird.
Regardless of what the actual situation is, whose fault it is, finger pointing, all that stuff, you're right. The way that they're behaving, and the way that they've been behaving traditionally over the past decade, it just doesn't feel like a company that really gives a crap about what they put out.
Because they used to be the best, man. Like,
Oh, yeah.
back in the,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
thinking about it as a kid, like, whatever, I don't know, 10, whatever years old I was, older than that, like 13 maybe. Like, my favorite games, every single one of them, were Konami games. Like Suikoden 2, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Metal Gear. It was like
All the good
every
Turtles
single
games.
One.
You
Yeah,
still remember
every one.
hearing their splash screens when you boot up games,
Yeah.
right? You know it.
That comes out of the rocks. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, what happened, Konami?
I think, I mean, it happens in the U.S. too. Konami, didn't treat its talent well. It treated Kojima very well, but then clearly didn't. Maybe treated him too well. I don't know what happened, but it's all about talent. Those people who made those games are very talented people, and you have to treat them right.
And you know what, man? Like, I think horror's going to evolve. I think there's a lot of really fun independent horror games that are out there right now. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of the horror industry. Like, I think with VR, like, we're going to get a lot of exciting things coming up. But man, we were on the cusp of possibly the greatest advertising campaign ever. Like,
It still
like,
is.
they literally like just by itself. But like, you look at even just like MGS4, which I like never played and wasn't like terribly interested in. I was fascinated by every trailer that came out for that game. It was just like the bits of information that you're choosing to show, like the dialogue and trying to piece all these characters together, all the weird like commercials we got for all the PMCs for like like that Metal Gear Online trailer. Like, he's so damn good at this. And just like, my mind just is like, my brain is hot, just literally thinking of like all the things you could possibly do. What if you slip something into PT like a couple months from now and don't tell anybody? And then people are just playing PT, like, oh, update to PT. And it's like, oh, just fixes bugs and stuff. You're like, oh, okay. And then one person's just randomly like, oh, I'm going to show my friend PT. And then like, what? It like opens up this whole new area. And then that guy freaks out and goes
Oh my
straight to
God.
NeoGAF. And
What
then
if,
like this fire gets started. It was like, I wanted more of that. Like, literally, the game, like, you could take 5 years to make this game. I don't care. Just keep doing these weird things.
And the fear that I have too is like, does this mean no one's ever gonna do this kind of stuff again?
That's my
also,
fear. No. That's absolutely my fear.
also, like, how is this the same company? How is Konami a company that has the kind of balls to do that Moby Dick Studios thing, to do this PT thing, to like do these crazy ad campaigns, and then also like throw a hissy fit and take someone's name off all the boxes and do all this
this is
little
assuming
baby
that they
shit.
were even remotely aware of or responsible for all of that stuff.
It was
all of
100%
it.
yeah,
Kojima.
right.
All
It
of
was
it came
Kojima,
out
but,
of
like,
Kojima, and
they
they just
had
had
to
to
say
either deal with
okay.
it. Yeah, they either had to deal with it or they had to say yes. My feeling is from the end game, from what the result of all of this, I have a feeling they dealt with it as best they could because they didn't want to do any of that stuff, which is dumb. I
Yeah.
admit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely
Maybe they're just
stupid.
not the right fit for each other.
Who was the guy he pretended to be with the bandages?
Joaquin Mogren.
I bet while that was going down, if you grabbed if you went over to Japan and grabbed some random Konami exec, he would have no idea who that is. He's like, oh yeah, that's somebody on Kojima's team, and it's like you really don't know what's happening right now. Like I would not be surprised.
Yeah, maybe they just got wise. Maybe they were just like, wait, what? Who is this? What? This man's a crazy person.
We're paying him a lot of
yeah,
money.
they're like, we're paying this man.
He's an executive.
We're not this kind of.
He's that
company.
guy at this table. What is going
Yeah.
on?
So the Kojima biopic. I mean, who's gonna
my
make
God.
this? Like who are we waiting
Keeley
on to
will
do
make
this?
that.
Keeley,
Yeah.
help us out, Keeley.
Keeley.
But I'm talking about
Partner up
documentary.
with
Like I
Del
want to
Toro.
cast someone as Kojima.
Who would play
Oh.
Kojima? Yeah.
I don't know.
Del Toro.
Gotta get the hair right.
Del Toro can direct it.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. While we're doing funny conjecture, let's move on to, well, you're the one who started this conversation!
That was weird.
I started too close to the mic. I'm sorry for any headphone users. I'm sorry about that.
I turned you down.
Oh, thanks, Ian. You saved him. Let's do this one from, oh my gosh, that one's, yeah, it's silly. You know what?
Are
We're
you
doing a
changing
silly
the
episode.
graphics every time?
Oh, actually, hey, this is from we might. This is a fan submitted graphic. All of the graphics, the one you saw for corrections, the one you will see for time for bets, and this one included. Brandon likes it a lot better than the ones I make. This is
They
from
are better.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is from @Kenstan, at KENNSTAN. Thank you so much, @Kenstan. If you want to submit some of these, please do. They're cool. Look at how good that looks.
Kyle really doesn't like doing work.
No, this looks professional. It makes the show look better.
We almost had him up to 3 days.
So like
3 days of work
when
a week.
when I got hired, no one said, "Hey, you have graphic design background, right? Like you're going to be if we ever make you host a podcast years from now, will you be able to make good-looking slides during that podcast?"
You see what happens when someone fires 80% of your staff.
Right.
Is you kind of have to pick up new skills.
When I got hired, nobody mentioned voiceover, Kyle. You adapt.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were voiceover from the start.
No.
No.
Oh
we were in
my
operation
gosh.
for 3 years before we started doing reviews.
Oh man.
3 years.
And then
Back when the name of the
Silence.
site made sense.
and then
Yeah.
Game Trailers are just lucky to have like a super good voice actor.
Super good.
Yeah. Hey, do you consider
So
yourself a
good.
voice actor or is it voiceover? That was what's weird. I don't know whether it's VO
It's
or VA.
narration, technically.
Okay. All right.
I fit mostly into the promo narration market.
You're very good at what you do.
Yeah, thank you, and so are you, Kyle.
So since we've been so
Except
bent out
You're
of
a
shape,
super good moderator.
Except for graphics.
Right, except
for
for those graphics, man. Ugh.
Ken Stan hooked us up. So I want to do this one from Nicholas. I saw this question being posed in another podcast and wanted to ask it. Wanted to know this panel's input on that. So this is not an original question that we're answering. Some other podcast has already answered this question. You can now time travel back to the NES era and bring a single game with you to inspire the developers and help shape the future of the games industry. Which game would you take back in time and why?
Oh, you take a current game back to NES.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're taking a current game and the console. I think the rule is you get
and a TV and all the hookups.
And-
And,
and a TV
yeah.
and all
Well,
that.
you're
HDMIs.
restricted. You're restricted.
Do I get 7.1
My
sound?
brain went straight to World of Warcraft, but I couldn't do that, could I? It wouldn't work. in
It
the
wouldn't
80s.
work, right?
so,
So,
no,
No,
internet.
I think the question is take the concept, take the game and everything about it and show it.
I'm afraid I can't allow that. So what we're doing is we get a week. You get a seminar. You can invite 2 to 3 developers from each huge studio. You can't invite a developer at that time who wasn't yet making games.
But they can't watch it because there's no TV that you could plug the systems into.
You're allowed to bring a TV.
Oh, you can bring a TV.
You can bring a
okay.
TV. You can bring anything you need to like make the game operate. Except you could bring World of Warcraft, but other people won't be online.
Right, that's a dumb game to bring.
You get a week with them, and they all get to like come and play that game for a weekend, and then you go away. You get that week, and then you go away. Seminar's over, and then they're just left to go out and make games.
GTA 5.
Why? Why GTA 5?
It's the most content I've ever seen in a single-player, non-online game.
So you want those
in my
poor
life.
NES developers to say we need to add more content into our games?
It's all about content, Kyle.
They're gonna have multi-cartridge. Oh, how
We're
great
all
would it have
massively
been
content hungry.
to have like 5 cartridge sleeve for one game on the
But I
NES.
think-
That's
like,
a
time
cool
to switch
idea.
the cartridge.
I just remember playing GTA. I mean, I honestly could bring back GTA 3 and I think it would have the same effect. I just remember talking to people before when GTA 3 came out and being like, what do you do? And they're like, oh, you're a criminal and you just go around and like doing crimes. I'm like, that's not a wait. No, what levels are there? How do you like it just really like expanded my mind of like not having this linear setup of like, oh, I need to go to this person and then do this thing. And I had technically played open world games. Final Fantasy VI is an open world game if you really think about it. So I played games like that before, but it just creating a world and not necessarily creating a game. I think that would be fun. It'd be fun to like see the look on their face and like, oh, okay, not to mention cell phones and all the other weird things that game incorporates.
Yeah.
I just thought of the plot to a movie where it's like a Terminator kind of thing where Brandon is going back in time to give them GTA 5 and I'm going back in time to try to stop him and give them Bloodborne because
a
I'm
good
like,
movie,
no,
yeah.
games must be structured and beautiful, and I'm like trying to stop Brandon.
I think we just wrote our first movie.
Yeah.
Blood, what's your pick? What are you? So it's a race. This is a mad world where we're all racing back in time to show them our game first. Blood, what is your game?
Oh goodness.
How do you know that movie?
I don't know. I don't know how I know any of the movies I know.
Who are
I
you?
don't know, man.
He got the number of Mads right too.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think he did, but
Is it 5?
I think it's 5.
All right.
Mad world.
Mad. 6.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. So it's 6.
Have you seen Doctor Strange?
2 and 2.
No. Okay, so Bloodworth, what game are you taking back?
Ah,
Hurry, you don't have much time.
no, I don't.
Brandon is on his way.
I
You
don't
need
have
to quick.
any idea.
You need to decide what
Um,
game are you taking back.
I kind of want to do the opposite.
The what?
But I'm not feeling like I'm completely confident in my pick. The opposite. Bring back Assassin's Creed and show them what not to do with it.
All right.
So
I'm
Assassin's
also trying
Creed
to
1?
stop blood.
That's an interesting answer, actually. So Assassin's Creed 1 you're bringing back?
I don't have a specific one in mind, but one would be a fine one. Yeah, sure.
Wait,
But to show them what not to do.
what do you mean by that? What should they not do? What have they done wrong? Where have we gone astray?
I mean, just kind of, filtering the whole map with a bunch of, like, again, I've talked about this multiple times over the past few weeks. That's why it's in my head. But, just like showing where all the secrets are, like right on the map from the get-go, pretty much. There's like, oh, go here, go here, go here, and then like, you kind of, you kind of miss the character and the individuality of the world by just, checking boxes and following the objectives.
So Witcher
Wow.
3 won't show you where everything is?
Uh-oh.
I don't think so, but we'll see.
Nobody got time for that.
Matt Blair, what game are you taking back?
That's kind of a tough thing. I'm kind of in the same vein, but it's complicated. I want. Does it have to be on the NES?
No.
No, you're bringing the game back to the NES.
Yeah,
era.
we're taking it back to the early NES. era.
NES era.
Yes,
from now.
PCs were also a thing back then.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. In that case, I would want to take WoW back all broken and be like, just keep making RTS games.
Wait, what? So
I would
you
want to take WoW
demonstrate
back and be
WoW-
like, look, this is what you guys make if you don't keep doing real-time strategy. I would game it a little bit. Because nobody else would be online. You said that, right? So it would
Yeah,
actually be terrible.
Hold on, Miyamoto's in the audience and just says, "Excuse me, what is RTS?"
But you wouldn't. It
He
wouldn't
was
even
aware
be,
of
You wouldn't even.
RTS
You
when
wouldn't
they-
even be able to log in. Like it would try to
I
find
know.
BattleNet and it would be like battle what?
I know. That's the point.
Wow,
I
and
want my strategy back in Warcraft.
you're gonna waste a week of their time to just show them a broken game that
you
won't
bring
work?
them footage of the Halo multiplayer tournament and be like, look what happened.
Sometimes
Look at this.
You go back a little further to prevent the future Judgment Day,
I like
Kyle.
Alright.
how we're all different kinds of evil.
Oh yeah, like it absolutely works for our movie because all of our games like counteract to the other games.
Just imagine like taking all these just amazingly bright-eyed developers of this like amazing console birth generation and just like running people over in shotguns and explosions and
Yeah.
just like yeah the future.
They all
funny
just
thing is-
quit. They're all just like,
that
oh my
day, like,
god,
that's
this
the
is
funny
what
thing.
we've done.
We all come back with these hugely violent, decadent games, and then we all finally converge on each other in the same room and start beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
Like being the
Well,
perfect
inevitably.
example of what games would become is us fighting each other because of them.
For that reason, I'm really torn between Mario 3 and Mario 64. Mario 3, I think, would be cool just to show like a slight improvement. This would create the least amount of ripples in our timeline. I think that's just like time travel wise the safest one to bring back. Mario 64. I mean, we'll talk. I'm playing through this game right now. I love the design of
Mario 64 is like fishing. It's like literally like you would teach them how to fish.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, this is it. This is everything stems from this.
Yeah.
Camera control, the distance you'd have to jump, like the whole thing. You know, the world structure.
And I feel like it would save a lot of time for them when they are trying to figure out 3D. Is just like see this now, in the 80s, and just like okay, this is what we're going toward. Mission structure. I freaking love that game, and so I think that would be a big help. But honestly, it might create too many ripples. Butterfly effect.
Yeah,
I'm going with Mario 3. Lock it in.
That was already a natural progression.
Yeah.
Worried
Okay.
about ripples?
I'm worried about ripples.
I thought that was a ripple-free question. I thought ripples were ripples
Brandon,
are inevitable.
You did ruin the world with your answer.
Yeah.
You ruined the world.
That's true.
I created the Biff future.
I did want to do another. You're the one who started this conversation really quick. This is from N. Hedron. I'm sure it's been asked and probably answered many times before, but why does Kyle refer to himself as a moderator instead of a host on GT Time? That hasn't been asked and answered. I don't
You're
know.
no
It's this
host.
psychosis.
It's yeah.
Deep-seated
if you
psychosis.
if we ever recorded the first 5 minutes of this show every time, you would see like sometimes I would deliberate about whether I should be host or moderator. It's never clear to me. I think honestly, why I said I want to be moderator was to try to differentiate this show as much as possible from Invisible Walls. I tried to like make it seem different in different little ways, and like, oh, this one has a moderator, and I am a moderator. That's my job on the show. I'm the one clicking the slides.
When are you going to start moderating things?
I'm do it. And now we're going to move on from Matt Blair's question. There's some moderation for you. Time for
welcome.
bets. We have an interesting bet this week. Actually, it's the least interesting bet in a long time. I don't know why I sold it that way.
But no, these bets are right up my alley.
This is a
Anything
Brandon
involving
Jones bet.
total running time is
Absolutely.
like, now we're talking.
So Wolfenstein: The Old Blood comes out next week, May 5th. That is the, of course, standalone expansion of Wolfenstein: The New Order.
And having hung out with the young blood for a long time, I'm looking forward to the old blood.
Poor Blood. He
Can you
gets that.
imagine him?
Fear the old
Just
blood.
exactly the same, but just gray.
Imagine getting like jokes about your last name every single day of your life.
I know this is a tangent, but I'm building the GT toy box in Disney Infinity,
Yeah.
and I wrote out like, "Hey, it's Blood. What's up?" And they were like, "You can't say Blood."
Whoa.
At Disney Infinity.
Blood
So
is
you're
a word.
Daniel B. Unfortunately, I was like D
Blood?
Blood,
You can't-
Bloodworth, and then anything. BLOOD
Can you just-
appears anywhere in that
Dude,
game.
Can you just do
That-
BLUD? Blood.
So that reminds me of a friend of mine. His last name is Mail, Mail.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the free email services would not let him use his last name. They were like, please enter a valid last name.
Oh, yeah, because it's like, email me at jakemail.gmail.com. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. You can't do that. Anyway, that game that we were talking about comes out next week. How long will the end credits be? Matt Blair, I think you're first to reveal.
Do I go first?
No, actually, it's Bloodworth. You're first to reveal this week. Sorry, my bad.
This is probably way too low.
Okay.
It's probably not going to be anywhere closest, but whatever. 6 minutes.
Ooh.
This is weird. I think we've shaken Blood's confidence. Did you hear how much he said before his bet?
Yeah.
This is too low. It's probably not right.
Well, mine's lower.
It's pretty
so-
long to me, yeah.
Yeah. Mine's lower.
Brandon Jones, go ahead and reveal, man.
5:40. I'm calling.
Okay.
5 minutes 40 seconds.
I think those end credits will be 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Matt Blair.
Is it upside down?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
definitely upside down.
Shit. It's 7 minutes and 31 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
Great. Let me lock those in. I'm excited
Blair's
about those. Good variety of numbers there. I like that. Wait, no, because Brandon came in very confident about his bet. What research did you do?
I looked up how long the credits were for the original game. And that's 8. So I'm assuming most of the people worked on it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if something that like you had already built for Wolfenstein was used in this game, your name is probably going to wind up in the credits again.
It's going to have more names. Matt Blair won the bet, man. Why
No,
why
it has to
it
be more- yeah.
shorter? It's going to have
because-
all those names and more.
Well, everybody who worked on the original engine and game and stuff like that, yeah, if they
Yeah.
use assets and
You
everything.
just
yeah,
handed that one straight to Matt Blair.
Well, we already
What do you mean?
we already voted. I
You
wasn't going
have
to say
half
anything
as many
beforehand.
level designers. You have half as many everything else.
I
Right.
don't think so, man. I
Which
feel
is
like,
why I didn't go to 4, and I figured there was at least a minute and a half of just those carryover people,
Oh,
people
boy.
that were also there.
I think that
But-
one's already decided. Let's talk about last week's bet.
Talk about already being decided. This one was decided 10
Oh, yeah,
minutes
this
after
is
I walked
fun.
out of the room.
If you can actually, Brandon,
I
while
lost
I
this bet
while I
before the show
recap
ended.
it, will you go to Twitter, your Twitter app, and look how many they have right now? Here's what last week's bet was. It was talking about my favorite new 3DS Street Pass game, Ultimate Angler, and it was developed by Prope Limited, which you know is from Sonic Team's Yuji Naka. Cool team. They're also making
That was a correction, by the way. We got. And
Prope.
I looked at it, and it's probably correct. Prope.
I think that's we're not calling you Danieru. It's like fine.
How do you spell that? Their Twitter channel?
PROP_LTD. And the question was how many followers they would have on Twitter, because last week they had merely 413. The question was how many will they have at this point on this week. Huber in the Super Seat bet 489. Bloodworth bet 435. Jones bet 420. And I bet 421.
Wow, no faith.
And the actual number of Twitter followers Prope Limited has today is 509. That's almost a 100. Oh, look at Matt Blair already celebrating. Yeah, that means Huber's bet of
I need
489.
something to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's all our fault too.
What do you mean it's all our fault? Oh yeah, that's the GT time bump. Is like 100 followers. That's not bad. Honestly, I didn't think we had that kind of influence. You're right. I did underrepresent ourselves.
They also just launched a game. I mean, we
And
can sniff around butts all we want. but-
Rodea the Sky Soldier too, which looks super legit, also came out recently. So yeah, I mean they launched 2 legit games.
Wait, Rodea is not out, is it?
I think it's out in Japan.
Oh, okay. That would make a difference then.
Yeah, if it's not out, it's coming out soon. So that's cool. Legit company, get more followers. Let's keep it rolling. Let's give them another 100, and then another 100, and then 200, and then another 100.
Calm down. I have a technical question.
Okay.
What do you determine by the beginning and the ending of credits? Is this the first time you see like an actual cast member? Is it the fade to black?
So yeah, we did this for Resident Evil, the remake. It's time from the first hint, the first frame of a thing scrolling up.
Because for Wolfenstein New Order, it had the logo. Like it went faded to black and then faded up, and then the logo hung there for like 10 seconds.
Logo's gonna count,
And then like directed by blah 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 came
Should
out.
we? So Judge Ian, should we go by first name or logo?
First name, I think.
Okay.
It's more definable.
First name
than-
and last name.
That's true.
Okay, we'll go first name to last thing. It's always like a number.
Yeah.
is the
Well,
last
if there's
name
like a
credits.
little Avengers, Winky Doo right at the end there, like is that a part of the credits?
No.
Okay.
The last thing is like if there's a copyright that sits there for 30 seconds, the frame where it's invisible is
Okay.
the end of the
'Cause we're
credit.
ranking
Thank you,
how many
Judge Ian.
people listed vertically are going to be included in the credits for this game, not how long is the thing they did at the end.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
He feels good. He's smiling now. So Matt Blair, the Super Seat just won. So let me go over the points. Super Seat just pulled ahead. Now has the lead with 7 points.
Yep.
Bloodworth right behind with 6. Jones has 2, and I have 3 points for the season, for the year. So Matt Blair, because the Super Seat won this week's bet, you get to promote any video on GameTrailers.com that you like. And also, you get to close us out. You have the
I
honor
forget,
of finishing
But does
wrapping up the
Matt
show.
watch our videos?
I don't know.
He posts all of them, but does he watch any?
You don't. How about anything from history? Like any video you
That's what I'm
made.
thinking.
I know you've made some levels, right?
Yeah, but that's just selfish. Come on.
Be selfish, man. Now's your time.
This time we'll actually get a link in
You're in the
description.
super selfish seat.
Super selfish. Okay. I'm going to call out the opening cinematic for the game Rainbow Six Rogue Spear.
Do we have that?
Oh, no, sorry.
that
Not
in the library
Rogue Spear
somewhere?
Urban Operations, I think, is the one that I want to talk about.
Are you gonna post this week? Is
Oh,
it
it's
on the
up.
site?
You're the
Okay.
one that started this conversation. pal.
Hey.
Wait, what do you like about it? Give me a why at least.
Oh, it's so good.
What is good about it?
Oh, it's so... spoilers?
This is by far the weirdest one
Thank
we've
We've
you.
ever.
had some weird ones. I'm glad Matt Blair
Good,
brings
because
the weird.
then maybe people will actually look below the little video frame and click on a link if you're on Game Trailers.
So is it cool?
We can try to put it on YouTube.
Is it a cool opening?
Oh, it's fantastic. It'll make you want to play the game for sure.
Okay.
And I miss that. I miss putting in a disc or whatever and getting an opening cinematic that just ramps up like an action movie trailer, and you're just like, press start. This
Chrono
is what
Cross.
you're about to do.
Okay.
So it is amazing. It's a narrated trailer that talks about like the world and like current events and things that lead up to you actually going on all these missions.
How do I find it if I'm not on our site right now looking at this?
Google.
Can I Google? So I Google Rogue Spear intro basically.
Rogue Spear Urban Ops.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I mean, maybe I would add game trailers at the end so I could watch that link on GameTrailers.com.
Sure, I guarantee you that
Maybe
we've
help them out
posted
a
it,
little bit.
and
Okay.
I'll put the link in the description for on our site. And I
And you'll
guess if
clear
you
cache
feel-
a bunch of times to make sure it actually works.
It probably won't work, but Kyle, if you don't mind putting the link on.
Oh, I do mind.
the
I will
YouTube.
not be doing that.
Okay. So
Don't worry
after
about
Kyle posts GT Time, I'll go in there and do that. And
Yeah, Super Seat doesn't get YouTube rights for at least another month.
that's all right. We'll just keep winning bets, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, Super Seat's dominating right now. Well, not dominating, but winning.
I have to go.
Which
I have to go
proves that
find
everyone
Reaper.
else in the office is smarter than the three of us, I guess. Our combined efforts aren't enough to beat.
I think
everyone
they
else
just
in the
want it
company.
more. I think the Super Seat wants it the most. And
I
that's
don't
what I
I
love.
clearly don't want it enough, I
I
guess.
don't remember if I ever won the bet that I made when we first did the studio. Actually, I need to go back and look.
Yeah, I think I love that this part of it, like that's the impact of calling it the Super Seat. When it was the guest seat, who cares? That doesn't belong to me, but the Super Seat belongs to Matt Blair just as much as it belongs to anyone else. You know what I mean? So he wants to win for the Super Seat. Super Seat earns its name by having the lead of the bets. So again, just like as we began the show, where everyone gives me very serious expressions when I go through corrections, again, everyone's just like, Kyle is really serious about this. There it is again. Matt Blair, can you just do us a favor and close out the show?
Sure. Thank you very much for watching and bearing with us. And I apologize for saying that it was a mistake being on the show because I had a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, what a
So-
heart warmer.
Please leave your feedback in the comments if you haven't already. And have a good week.
And follow us on Twitter.
It's too late for that. Too late for Twitter. I love.